Shall we begin? Let's begin now. Let's begin now.
This is not a drill.
Repeat, this is not a drill.
Is that all you got?
Let's begin now.
What up? Oh, for sure.
In my dreams, I walk free in the city streets. 2,500 days plus 50 weeks. Doing hard time for these WikiLeaks. Trying to bring the truth out, man, it only gets you heat. And then they gag you. You don't get to speak. And when you get the leak, they try to hit the leak. The masters of the masses, they want this shit to street. That's why my middle finger's up to these sick elites. Playing on the regular.
You keep the messenger.
Free speech is the freedom of press. Take your deepest, darkest secrets, never leave them unsaid. If I'm a thief, then I'm a thief for the people you dread. The people want the red, while the blue you keep them in bed. Seeking the sheep, keep them asleep, deceiving the weak. Keep seeking the leech till you cease, and I see your defeat. Until I'm deceased underneath, I freeze a red sheet, become a dead man. Then I hit the switch and release. Goldman Sachs, Goldman Sachs, Goldman Sachs is your creditor.
You keep the messenger.
And outside my window a figure quickly creeps. They dark as night like some motherfucking chimney sweeps. Whiskey what my Mickey keeps, dying in my kidneys weak. Silence of my risky tweets, what the grand jury seeks. I'm wanting peace, like 7 years in Tibet. Now rest in peace, like 7 years under threat. Cause I've released 7 vaults, they upset. They ended the rape sentence, but the US still insists to rest. I guess it's a sin to take the truth and disseminate. MLK to Gandhi, take him and eliminate. And I don't say I'm great, just wanna say what's fake. But if they kill me, a million others will take my place. The CIA's post like a knife the sharpest. All hypocrisy, lies, and heartless. They want to stop me, my life, make my heart quit. Cause democracy dies in the darkness. Cause democracy dies in the darkness. You kill the messenger.
You kill the messenger.
Democracy dies in the darkness.
Darkness.
Hi everyone, I'll try again. I'll turn my microphone on. I'm getting a lot of jittering on the screen. I'm hoping that this stream is okay. I've got a lot of tabs open at the moment, so it's probably taking a lot of my computer memory. Sorry about that. I'm also not feeling too well today. I've got a bit of a dicky stomach, so if I run off, you'll know why. There's breaking news at the moment because a couple of hours ago we heard from the Americans that they are saying that the Iranian passenger jet that crashed the night of the attacks 2 nights ago, they're saying it was shot down. They said it was highly likely, which immediately sends off warning signals because they said it was highly likely that Russia had Novichok the Skripals, and it does look like it was shot down accidentally by the Iranians, though. This is the latest on Twitter. This is unconfirmed. This is from Babak Tagvi. The video is still verified, but it released on Telegram channel and is claimed to be showing the moment of shot down a flight PS752 of Ukraine International Airlines over Poland. Like I say, this is unverified, but it's pretty... There's a loud bang coming up. So it does look like, in this instance, their intelligence is accurate. We shall see. One thing I will say for sure, 176 people, I think it was, or 186 people. I forget which amount. One thing's for sure. Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about them. These people died, these innocent people died because America escalated things and killed an Iranian general. those people dead are dead now because of a course of action that the Americans took, an escalation that they took. This is what happens with war. War is hell. That draft dodger in the White House does not have a fucking clue about that fact. War is hell. When two sides go to war, point is all that you can score. When two sides go to war like this, collateral damage is inevitable. Inevitable. Innocent people are going to be killed because Donald Trump has been waving his dick in the air. To all the people who are saying that this is a de-escalation and Trump has won some sort of 4D chess match by doing this, this is not a de-escalation. What is happening now is an escalation. There are more sanctions going to be put on Iran now. More crippling sanctions. The crippling sanctions don't hurt the people at the top of the Iranian regime, as they like to call it. Iranian government. They don't hurt them. It's ordinary people that end up starving and dying as a result of the sanctions. It's ordinary people, the poorest people in the country, that end up dying as a result of not being able to get medicine. I hear cancer treatment in Iran is so scarce. People are dying all over the place from cancer because they can't get the treatment because of economic sanctions by Russia and, of course, us as well. This is an escalation. These extra sanctions are an escalation. Trump is not a peace president for all you people saying, oh, he's doing 4D chess and he's got it from all sides. Peace presidents don't surround themselves with neocons. Peace presidents don't have people like Mike Pompeo, Max Abrams, or what's his name, Abrams, or Elliot Abrams, whatever his name is, and John Bolton. Although he did get rid of John Bolton. I do find it interesting that John Bolton announced he was going to testify in the impeachment, I suppose, the day that Trump killed Soleimani. I do find that interesting. But this is an escalation of war. We are not further away from war today than we were a week ago. We're closer to it. I want you to remember that. I've been mad as hell today, people. I've been really angry. I've been shouting and swearing and jumping up and down on Twitter. I've got some news from Belmarsh Prison. This is the prison that Julian Assange is currently... Well, he's not serving any sentence. They've just thrown him in there awaiting his trial. He's not serving any sentence. He served the extortionate sentence that he was giving for jumping bail. He served that sentence. So now he's just in Belmarsh Prison, our Guantanamo Bay, awaiting his extradition. This is the latest from Belmarsh. This is from RT. A disabled prisoner has been found dead in the cell of the British prison holding Assange. Disabled prisoner, they're saying, has been found dead. Apparent suicide. "65 doctors, over 100 now, have written a letter saying that Julian Assange's life is in danger, in grave danger. I want to remind you of something. This is my interview with Emmy Butlin outside Westminster Magistrates Court. She had just come out of the court. Look at her face. Look at the anguish on her face. I'll let you read here into just how bad his situation is. Everybody, I'm here with Emmy Butlin, who's just come out of the hearing. Emmy, you obviously... Look at her face. Look. Look. Some distress.
There were people crying in the public gallery.
What was his health?
He's like a ghost.
He's like a ghost. There were people crying in the public gallery.
He could hardly talk.
He could hardly talk.
It's not unfair. The judge wants to transfer the final court hearing, the February one.
She's just seen this man who is, let's face it, one of the most intelligent people on the planet. He can hardly remember his name. He can hardly remember his name. How long has this got to go on before a member of parliament or somebody in the Labour Party, the leader preferably, stand up and start asking questions about our government torturing a journalist to death in our Guantanamo Bay for publishing details of war crimes that proved that lying war criminals were all lying war criminals? How much longer is it going to be until one of them asks a question? Is Julian Assange going to have to die from this torture? How long is it before we find out that he's dead? How long? How long? When that happens, you Labour people down there in the Houses of Parliament, you're complicit. You're complicit in torture. Does he need to be killed before you'll ask a question in the Houses of Parliament? Look at this. This is how little they are doing, the Labour Party and the opposition. This is how little. This is Nils Melzer. Under the Convention Against Torture, the UK government does not have the political discretion to simply reject such findings. He's talking about his own report here, but must conduct a prompt and impartial investigation. They must under United Nations rules. They have not. The Labour Party, members of the Labour Party, have not even questioned that. It's interesting, isn't it? How long is it going to be before he dies in prison? Will they say anything then? Will you say anything then, Labour MPs? When Julian Assange is finally tortured to death by the UK state on behalf of the Americans? Will you say anything then, or will you just, oh well, it was an accident, like Jeffrey Epstein? You are complicit in torture, Labour. Diane Abbott, Jeremy Corbyn, Angela Rayner, Rebecca Longshot, Ian Lavery, they're all complicit in torture. There's a journalist in the City of London being tortured to death right now, and they are completely silent. Completely. Let me just tell you how ridiculous this is. I watched Jeremy Corbyn yesterday ask more questions about the legalities of killing Qasem Soleimani half a world away than he has about the legalities of torturing a journalist half a city away from him. Think about that. Just think about it. Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour Party, they could have stopped this. They could have stopped it. They could have stood up in one voice and they could have made a massive point about it last year. And you know what? It would have curry favour with a lot of people on the so-called right, because they value free speech as well as people on the left. Free speech is a universal thing that we all value. And the Labour Party have gone along with a course of action that has not only led a journalist to be on the verge of death in prison after being tortured, after, remember, 7 years of arbitrary detention, but they've facilitated this torture with their silence. What happened to the truth? What happened to us valuing the truth? What happened? Why is it that we value lies now more than the truth? Why is it the Labour Party can't stand up for what is true and what is right? Why is that? When Julian Assange is finally murdered, when he's finally killed off in Belmarsh prison, or even worse, you extradite him to America and they kill him, I want you to know something, Diane Abbott. I want you to know something, Jeremy Corbyn and Angela Rayner and Ian Lavery and Rebecca Longshot and all those Labour MPs down there right now in the House of Commons. When Julian Assange is finally tortured to death, I'm going to blame you. We are all, as Assange supporters, going to blame you. We're not going to blame Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson's going along with this. We always knew the British state would go along with it. We have to rely on the opposition to actually oppose. I can't believe this. You're not even opposing the treatment, the torture of a journalist. You're not even opposing it. You're not even, it's not even close to an opposition what you're doing right now. You're not even an opposition. How can you call yourselves the opposition if you don't oppose the torture of a journalist on home soil? Let me explain something to you so you realise just how bad the Labour Party have been on this, just how badly they've dropped the ball. Jeremy Corbyn has said more about Owen Jones, a Guardian journalist, getting in a bit of a scuffle outside of a pub than he has about the world's most famous journalist and arguably most successful publisher the world has ever seen, who has published more stories of global importance and in the public interest. In the 15 years since WikiLeaks have been going along, they've published more stories in the global interest of that's had global impact than the entire media of the world combined for the previous 100 years. And now he's being tortured in Belmarsh, and Jeremy Corbyn hasn't said a goddamn word. He was on stage with Owen Jones showing his support after he had a bit of a scratch on his back because he got beat up by some people outside a pub. But he's silent on the biggest threat to press freedom the world has ever seen, ever. This is the biggest threat to press freedom the world has ever seen. He knows it. He even said it. He said that this is a threat to press freedom in his tweet, I think it was. That's all he's done. One tweet. That's an opposition. That's your opposition to torture. You're weak, man. You're weak, man. You're a weak man. And that's why you lost the election. Because you're weak. What will it take for you to say something? What will it take for you to finally oppose the torture of a journalist on home soil? What will it take? Is he not diverse enough for you, Labour Party? Has he got to start dressing up as a woman and come out as they, like Sam Smith, before you'll fucking stand up for human rights, civil liberties and freedom of the press and the Fourth Estate? You sicken me. You've honestly made me ill today. I've been thinking about your spinelessness and it's wound me up so much. You're spineless. All of you. The biggest threat to press freedom the world has ever seen, and they've done one tweet. Made one statement when he was originally arrested. That's before he was sentenced to a ridiculous 50 weeks. That's before the kangaroo trials that we've seen this year. That's before the UK judicial system basically threw the rule of law out the window. They certainly threw United Nations law out the window, didn't they? And the Labour Party won't even oppose that. You sicken me, all of you. All of you. You're not fit to tie Julian Assange's shoelaces. When he is finally tortured to death in our Guantanamo Bay, or he's extradited to America so they can kill him, when he finally is killed, murdered by the British state along with the US, when he finally is dead, Diane Abbott and Jeremy Corbyn and every fucking member of the Houses of Parliament down there who have said nothing about his torture will have blood on their motherfucking hands. And now, what do the Labour Party doing? What are they doing now? Well, they're electing a new leader. The favourite at the moment is Sir Keir Starmer. Sir, a knight of the Queen's realm and Commonwealth. A knight as the opposition, as the voice of the working class. A knight that not only is a knight, I mean, that should disqualify you from being Labour leader straight away, but a knight that was in the Met, in the Metropolitan Police, and was responsible for originating the Assange warrant. What chance has Julian Assange? The only people that can save him are us. On the 25th of January, I will be in Scotland for a Don't Extradite Assange meeting. I'm going up there. I had already planned to go to this one on the same day. Where is it? Excuse me. Technical difficulties! Oh, bollocks, I'll have to put it in the edit afterwards. I haven't got it. On the 25th, I'll be in Scotland for this Don't Extradite Assange meeting. On the same day, at the same time, I think it is at 2 p.m, there is a rally outside of Belmarsh Prison. The Gilets Jaunes will be there. I believe they'll be bringing the croissants they did last time. Please, please be there. Be at one of those events. I will be live streaming from Scotland. They've asked me to live stream it and I'm happy to. And also Titch in the chat, my fiancée, will be live streaming from the event at Belmarsh on the same day. So how I'm going to get both of them out at the same time, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. Please be there. Please show your support. Because it's clear that the Labour Party don't care about the rule of law. It's clear that the Labour Party don't care that there's a journalist on home soil being tortured to death by our government. They don't give a shit. None of them. They are spineless. Yes, Diane Abbott, you're spineless. Yes, Jeremy Corbyn, you're spineless. Yes, Angela Rayner and Rebecca Longshot and Keir Starmer, you're all spineless. Spineless. He's been tortured to death on home soil and you haven't said a word. The Labour Party are a complete and utter joke. The only MP in the House of Commons that was standing up for Julian Assange last year, they booted him out of Labour. They broke their own rules to get rid of him. So forgive me, you people on Twitter, if when you're running around saying, oh, Labour this and Labour that, forgive me if I look at you with derision and I look at you with absolute disgust. Because you're cheering on people who will have blood on their fucking hands when he's killed. You are cheering it on. You're cheering on the murder of a journalist. You don't give a shit. Because if you did, you would be trying to hold them accountable on this. I'm absolutely furious with our politicians. I'm furious with them. And I know I'm not the only one. Like I say, when Jeremy Corbyn, when Julian Assange is finally put to rest and they finally torture him to death, Diane Abbott and Jeremy Corbyn and the rest of the Labour people down there and every single MP, you'll all have blood on your hands. And I will blame you. We all will blame you. Because you decided to sit this one out and take the path of least resistance because it was politically correct for you. You do what's politically correct now, don't you, Jeremy and Diane? You don't care what's morally fucking right anymore. You all disgust me. Absolutely disgust me. Do you remember they all shouted, nobody is above the law? Nobody is above the law, they shouted when they dragged him out of the embassy in that act of fascism. They all shouted it. Well, it seems to me that the British government are above the law, aren't they? If they can torture somebody on home soil. They certainly don't care about United Nations laws and regulations, do they? They should have opened an investigation and they haven't. Not only have they not opened an investigation, as they should do by the UN Charter, the Labour Party haven't even spoken about it. Not a single question about it in the House of Commons. Not one. Not one. And for all of you Labour Party members who are going to no doubt show up in my comments underneath this video when I drop it, to say to me, Gordon, you back off the Labour Party. What are you doing? Are you a Boris supporter? Blah, 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 blah. To those people, hear me now, okay? Julian Assange wrote me a letter last year and asked me personally to save his life. That's what I'm doing. If me criticising people who will have blood on their hands when he is finally tortured to death, if me criticising people that you like hurts your feels, I don't give a rat's ass. Move out my fucking way. I'm trying to save this man's life. I care. Don't you? He's going to die in prison. If we let it happen, he's going to die in prison. For proving that war criminals are lying war criminals. For being the best journalist ever. And Labour don't give a fuck. You know, I said the other day on Twitter, I said, I'll never vote Labour again. Never. And somebody honestly had a go at me for it. How can you defend this? How can anybody defend this? How can anybody defend Labour's silence while a journalist is tortured in the centre of fucking London? How can anybody defend that? All right. Let me just, I've got something I want to show you. Where is it? Here we are. Here is one of the people running for Labour leader. Just been talking about Labour, giving them a hard time, saying they're useless. It's Jess Phillips. She's running for the leader of the Labour Party. Seema Shanwani says, the gift that keeps giving. I love this woman. She's hilarious. Let's take a look at what this narcissist is saying, shall we?
We haven't won a general election since 2015. That was, my son was born that year. He's now 14 years old. So, we haven't won a general election since 2015. That was, my son was born that year. He's now 14 years old.
She hasn't won an election since 2015. Her son was born that year. He's now 14 years old.
So, we haven't won a general election since 2015. That was, my son was born that year. He's now 14 years old. So,
do you remember when Diane Abbott got some sums wrong and the media went absolutely overboard because she got some sums wrong in an interview? You remember when Diane Abbott got all that pushback? You think she's going to get the same pushback? Of course not. He's a Blairite. Different rules for Blairites. $149 watching, 85 likes. Hit the like, please, people. Hit the like. It really helps. Share the stream as well if you can. I'm on a Corbyn bashing night tonight. And I think he deserves it. Because he's standing by as one of my heroes is being tortured to death. We've got to talk about Jeremy Corbyn. Because not only is he standing by and saying nothing as a journalist is being tortured to death half a city away. Not only is he doing that, but he messed up pretty badly in the last year. I've pointed it out many times, but I want to make a standalone video on this one issue. And that's the issue of the anti-Semitic smear that was, well, let's face it, absolutely, it was an onslaught of anti-Semitic smears against him. That he's an anti-Semite, that anti-Semitism in the Labour Party is a terrible, terrible thing. It was terrible, this smear job. But the thing is, Jeremy Corbyn, he dug his own grave. He actually played into it. And what's more is, when I think about his silence on Julian Assange and the way he's just knuckled under to the state, I do wonder whether he played into it on purpose. Because obviously Jeremy Corbyn is not an anti-Semite. There's not a racist bone in his body. For 30, 40 years, this man has been probably the most anti-racist MP in the House of Commons. Now, all of his life, he has championed the rights of Palestinians in their oppressive occupation that they're under of the Israeli right-wing Likud party. It's an occupation, this is, an illegal occupation. And all of his life he's championed this, okay? All of his life he's talked about the rights of the Palestinians and how the right-wing Israeli Likud party and the Likud party, etc., and the ruling party in Israel have been committing war crimes on them. All of his life he's championed it. So when they came at him with this anti-Semitism smear, and by the way, have you noticed there's no anti-Semitism in the Labour Party since he lost the election? I haven't seen any newspaper reports of anti-Semitism in the Labour Party since December the 12th. I haven't seen any at all. Maybe you could point them out to me. But all of his life he's championed these things. So when they came at him for the with this anti-Semitic smear that they did, it was an open goal. They're giving him the ammunition, aren't they, for him to say no. No, this isn't about anti-Semitism. This is what he should have done is say, this isn't about anti-Semitism. This is a trick. Many people will know what I mean by that. I'm about to show you what I mean. I think this is Amy Goodman, actually, a while ago. Oh, no, that's not it. Yeah, I think this is, it's Amy Goodman a while ago, this is. She's interviewing former Israeli minister and Israel Human Rights Prize winner. And she said, it's a trick. Take a listen.
Often when there is dissent expressed in the United States against policies of the Israeli government, often when there is dissent expressed in the United States against policies of the Israeli government, people here are called anti-Semitic. What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
Well, it's a trick. We always use it.
It's a trick. We always use it.
When from Europe somebody is criticizing Israel, then we bring up the Holocaust. When in this country people are criticizing Israel, then there are anti-Semitic. And the organization is strong and has a lot of money, and the ties between Israel and the American Jewish establishment are very strong.
So it's the same over here in the United Kingdom. Israel's influence, we know how they influence the BBC. I've documented it on this channel. He has the chance here, when they launched this anti-Semitic attack against him, he had the chance to say, no, this is a trick. Let me explain to you. They use this. I'm obviously not anti-Semitic, and you know that. I'm not racist. I've got a lifetime of anti-racism. What they're doing here is they're trying to conflate it with anti-Semitism, what I am doing in championing Palestinian rights. And the reason they do that is because, like she said, it's a trick. They have no defense against what they're doing. And he could then, every time somebody brought up anti-Semitism with him, he could have said this. And he could have said, no, actually. So you see, criticism of Israel is not anti-Semitic, because if you're saying criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic, then you're saying that criticising Israel is criticising the will of all Jews. And that's not true. That's an anti-Semitic trope. And then if they carried on with the anti-Semitic attacks against him, he could say, well, actually, Palestinians are Arabs. Palestinian Arabs, therefore, are Semites. So if you want to talk to me about anti-Semitism, let's talk about the anti-Semitic acts of the right-wing Israel government against the Palestinian people, who they are brutally occupying, and go on with, hundreds of people killed in the Great March of Return, and just reel off statistic after statistic about it. It was an open goal for him. Everything he had championed his whole life, they were giving him the stage and giving him the question for him to put it front and centre. They did it almost every day. He didn't once, as far as I can tell, he didn't once actually respond to that allegation that he was an anti-Semite in the way that I have just said he should have. What did he do instead? The Labour Party opposes racism and anti-Semitism in all its forms. What he did confirmed the narrative. He confirmed the narrative. If he would have, every time they called him an anti-Semite, every time they asked him a question, if he would have brought up crimes that Israel have been doing against Palestinians and how many people they've been killing, they would have backed off in a heartbeat. The last thing they want is a politician, a top politician, talking about Israel's crimes on TV at every chance he can get. They would have backed off in a nanosecond. So you have to ask, why did he take the course of action that confirmed their narrative? Why? He's championed Palestinian rights all of his life. They came at him with an incessant anti-Semitic smear campaign, and he didn't once reply to it the way anybody with half a brain would. I'm asking a question. Why didn't he do it? Why not? Do you know why I think he didn't do it? I think there's three possibilities, I think. The first one is he's incompetent. That would explain it. Made a mistake, made a boo-boo. The second one is he's thick. He's stupid. And the third one is he's controlled opposition. I'll let you decide as to which one it is. For those of you out there who don't necessarily understand this anti-Semitism thing and what is and what isn't, and why Corbyn took this course of action and why I'm saying it was a wrong course of action, I understand it can get quite complicated, this thing with Israel and Palestine can. Them coming after him with this anti-Semitic smear, them coming after Corbyn with an anti-Semitic smear and asking them that question over and over and over when he's championed Palestinian rights all of his life, it's so easy to knock that back. If he comes back out and says what I've just said he should have, and he puts the Palestinians, he puts that front and centre, and he puts Israelis' crimes against Palestinians front and centre, they would have backed off in a nanosecond. It's the equivalent of you playing football, and your right winger going down, going round the goalkeeper, squaring it back to you so you're half a yard out. There's no defenders around you. You're onside. The ball's been cut back. You can't be offside. It's an open goal. And rather than tap it in the net, he's decided to try and dribble round 7 people, do some keepy up in the middle of the park, and then try an overhead kick into the top corner from 45 yards away. Why? Why did he do it? Is it because he's incompetent? Is it because he's stupid? Or is it because he's not the person that you actually think he is? And he's controlled opposition. On the matters of importance, on the important things to the working class in the North and the Midlands, standing up for journalists who were being tortured, standing up when somebody's attacking you with the truth, standing up to the members of your Labour Party that stupidly wanted to vote to have another referendum, throwing the Midlands and the North overboard. He didn't even stand up and make a case. I was telling you all along, if you do this course of action, he's toast. I said it on my channel. I said, if he supports a second referendum, Jeremy Corbyn will never be Prime Minister. Never. I said it in February last year. Over and over again. But he didn't. You have to ask why. Think about it. Hi everyone. I haven't run to the toilet yet. That's a good thing. 162 watching, 110 likes. Please hit the like button, people. It really helps. It really, really does help. Please hit the like button. It makes a big difference. Right. Hi everyone, there's a woman. Let me just make sure that I've got things set up, because I noticed that my pictures were messed up. 2 p.m. 25th of January. Protest for Assange plus French President Gilles Jones will be there. Also on Sunday at 2 p.m. I'll be going. I think it's 2 p.m. I don't know. 2 p.m. Eastern. It'll be evening time. I think it's 2 p.m. Eastern. Or 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll check. I'll tweet it out. But I will be doing a vigil. There's an Assange stream that I'm doing with Action for Assange, with Slow News Day, with Taylor Hudak, with Chrissy Doff, with Andrew. And we're going to try and do a fundraiser. I'm trying to help them raise money because they want to come over and cover the Assange trial here and in Washington at the same time. I think they're halfway to the goal, which is great. But yeah, I'll be live on Sunday with them. I'll probably do a video announcing it when I get a chance tomorrow. I've got an interview. I'm going to go out, and I probably won't. Yeah, I won't be live tomorrow because I've got an interview. I'm actually going to go out to do an interview with somebody tomorrow. Somebody many of you will have heard of, hopefully anyway. And somebody that's, I think, a lot more people are going to be hearing of her in the next year or two. I think, yeah, good things. That's happening. And there's a couple of other things I'm going to be doing as well that I've got in the pipeline. So you'll enjoy that coming to the end of the month. Okay. I will be there in Scotland on the 25th. Hi everyone, there's a lady, a horrible lady, an awful lady. Hi everyone, there's an awful lady over in America who is the head of something called the Centre for American Progress, I think it's called. Her name is Neera Tanden, and she's the worst kind of person. She is a Hillary Clinton. She's part of the Centre for American Progress is sort of like a Hillary Clinton super PAC think tank cheerleader sort of organisation. She goes on all the shows, and she's, you know, always on Twitter, rah, Hillarying. She's awful. She's all Democrat. She's all neoliberal. And whenever you call her out with facts, she blocks you on Twitter. She's blocked me. She's blocked Jimmy Dore, I know. She's probably blocked about 5 or 6 people in the chat. She's awful. Well, there's Java Perilla on Twitter. I'll put the tweet up here in post. Java Perilla spotted that she was getting roasted by somebody else the other day. This guy called Justin Jackson. And what had happened here is, I'll give you the lead up to what has happened and why he's roasting her. It's because she got in a bit of a Twitter fight with Alan Marte. You know, you don't get into a Twitter fight with Alan Marte, because Alan Marte, as my mate Jamal will tell you, he's a buzzsaw. So this is what she said. She's quoting Faraz Fasihi, who said, breaking, Iraq parliament votes to expel US military. This is the Iraqi voting to expel the United States military the other day after they assassinated an Iranian general on their soil. It's really weird, isn't it? They fought for democracy over in Iraq. Iraq have now got a democracy. They democratically voted to eject the United States military from their country, and the United States military said, nah. You don't care about democracy then, do you, America? You know? The veil's off now, isn't it? She said, you know who loves this news and will now have a much wider footprint in the Middle East? Putin. She's still a rabid Russiagating. She's still everything. Donald Trump has just almost gone to war with Iran. Well, he has gone to war with Iran, and she still thinks he's a Putin puppet. She still thinks he's doing the work of Putin. Iran are Russia's ally. I'm sure Putin is over the moon that Trump just essentially went to war with a major ally of theirs. Alan Marseille replied with, you know who loves that prominent Democrats are still, even in 2020, unhinged Russia conspiracy nuts? Republicans. Yeah, of course. Republicans. Trump is running on impeachment. It's ridiculous. She replied to that, you know who loves that folks like Aaron attack Demons all the time? Trump. She doesn't stop. Well, this guy, Justin Jackson, he's a sportsman. He plays in the NFL. And he retweeted that Neera Tanden tweet I've just showed you. Like I say, it says tweet is unavailable because she's blocked me. He said this, WikiLeaks exposed you for wanting to take Libyan oil as payback for overthrowing their government. Libya is now a failed state and terrorist hotbed. You're a warmonger. Voters rejected your ideology in 2016, so you know who likes Neera? Trump. You helped him get elected. This guy's great. And he puts the receipt down there, look. I swear this guy's been listening to Jimmy Dore. I swear he has. He must have, because this is exactly what Jimmy Dore pulls up on every single time. That was, I think, the day before yesterday. It was the January the 5th. So this was like 4 days ago. That was January the 5th. Well, the next day, was it? Or the day after? Even solidifying my thought that he's a Jimmy Dore fan even more, he starts calling out Chris Hayes and MSNBC for their McCarthyism and pushing Russiagate. He said the irony of Chris Hayes speaking about proportionality when MSNBC full-throated pushed the neo-McCarthyite Russiagate story for 3 whole years is like George Bush complaining how crazy Trump is. Funny thing is, corporate Dems agree with both sentiments. This is an NFL player calling out the media. We need more of this. We need more of this from our sports people. We need more of this from high-profile people. We need more of this from our celebrities. We need it, otherwise we're going to get into World War III. They will get us into it. I want to say brilliant to Justin Jackson. Well done, mate. I like that guy. I support whatever hockey team he plays for. No, NFL isn't football. Football is football. There's a clue. What shape is a ball? Let's go and see the super chats. Yes, the super chat, remember? Let's go and see the super chats. I've got some super chats. Where are we? Might do this story first, actually. Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, where are we? Monetization. So, where are we? We are the 9th. I'm sure I just had a super chat, didn't I? I'm sure I did, and it's not showing up. I'm sure I had a super chat, and it's not showing up. I'm very sorry, whoever. Triana, be fine. Thank you very much. You are the best journalist in the UK, she says. I applaud your anger. I'd love to see you smash something. Oh, don't love to see me smash something. Please don't. Yeah. I can get pretty angry. I'm not a violent person, though. I'm not a violent person. If somebody punched me, I think I'd cry. Not violent, but I can get really angry. Thank you very much for your super chat and for saying that. That's really nice of you. I'm not the best journalist in the country, though. I'm really not. I'm really not. I just talk about things that the media don't. Makes me better than them, I suppose. Oh, the 8th of January. Corbyn is a member of the Fabian Society. What does that mean? I don't know. Who cares? What's the Fabian Society, mate? I've never heard of that. Thank you, Who Cares. Thank you for the super chat. $4.99 also from Take Eel. Thank you very much, mate, for that. Let's go. The Fabian Society. The Fabian Society is a British socialist organisation whose purpose is to advance the principles of democratic socialism via gradualist and reformist efforts in democracies rather than revolutionary overthrow. I don't know whether you've noticed, but yeah, the world seems to be on fire at the moment. I don't think we've got time for incrementalism. Ron Placone in America has a brilliant saying. He says, there's no such thing as a pragmatic solution to a catastrophic problem, I think is the saying. Incrementalism is not the way forward right now. We need massive change right now. Massive change. Otherwise, you are going to see mass death in your lifetime, probably, on a scale that we haven't seen since World War II. That's the truth. That's the truth. Corbyn's incrementalism, it's not going to work. We need massive, drastic action. So I'll look into that Fabian Society, mate. Thanks for that. Who cares? Hi, everyone. So you probably saw the other day that Iran was nearly wiped off. Well, I say Iran was nearly wiped off. That's a bit bellicose, isn't it, Gordon, you stupid man? Hi, everyone. So the other day, we nearly went to war with Iran. And if you ask me, we're going to. At some stage during Trump's presidency, for sure, we're going to go to war with Iran. And even if by some miracle he gets voted out next year, unless they elect somebody like Tulsi Gabbard, I think they will still go to war with Iran. Tulsi Gabbard or Bernie, unless they do that. And they will cheat Bernie, I'm sure they will. They did last time. Remember, to all you people say, oh, Bernie. Bernie might not be a Democrat in good standing, you know. Think about it. He might not be a Democrat in good standing. They put that in there for a reason. They put that rule in there for a reason. Just a thought, before you get excited that Bernie's going to win. And if he does win, obviously, then the real work's going to start. But the other day, we almost went to war with Iran, which is a massive country in the Middle East with millions of people. And the Americans and the UK have been trying to go to war with it ever since 1979 and the revolution, the Iranian Revolution. Of course, the history goes back further than that to 1953 and Operation Ajax, where we overthrew Mohammad Mossadegh, who was Times Man of the Year the year before. He was Times Man of the Year the year before, and we overthrew him in a coup. Took until 2013 before the CIA admitted that. I don't think the British still have admitted it, although it was at our behest. Yes, it was good old Winston Churchill that started that. All of this mess with Iran right now was started by Winston Churchill and the British. Just remember that. Mossadegh wanted to audit the Anglo-Iranian oil company. BP, British Petroleum. That's what it was called over there at the time. He wanted to audit it. And they said no. He said, right, okay, I'm going to take the means of production into ownership of the state. So what Churchill did was basically blockade the country and go to the World Court to try and get a ruling. The World Court said no. He begged America to overthrow him. They said no. Then America had a new president, and then Churchill begged again for them to overthrow, and they finally did. And then afterwards, they split up all the oil. I've done a video about it. It's horrific. You would think with all this history, you would think with almost 67 years of history, that Americans would know where it is on a map. Wouldn't you? The country that America and Americans right now, I've heard a lot of them saying we should wipe them off, we should just go to war, we should bomb them. I even saw one video, an awful video of some soldier who'd been propagandized. You know, people don't wake up born thinking the way he did. He was the bloodthirst. But this is Dan Amira. For fuck's sake, look at where some of these guesses are. I'm going to show you this article. It's incredible. This is. It really is incredible. Can you locate Iran? Few voters can. This is in the Morning Consult. Only 28% of registered voters could point out Iran on a zoomed-in map of the Middle East and Europe. That's the map. Only 28% of them. Just look at some of these fucking guesses. When you actually zoomed out to a map of the globe, it was even worse. 23%. Only 23% correctly identified where Iran was. But more worryingly, look at that. Some of these people think Iran is somewhere near Texas. These are Americans. A load of them thought it was in Alaska. Some of them thought it was in Russia. One guy here thinks Iran is somewhere close to Torquay. We're screwed. If Americans don't even know what continent Iran is on, some of them thought it was Australia. If they can't point out what continent Iran is on, what chance have we got of them being informed on the history of the two countries? What chance have we got of them making an informed decision that maybe will stop their country from going to war, which will probably cause World War III? And honestly, I was almost speechless when I saw this. Look at those guesses. Look at them. How many people here thought that Iran was somewhere in the Midwest? America, bum 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 bum, America, bum 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 bum, America. Unreal. Here's one American who is great. Tulsi Gabbard. She's awesome. She's the only person I think really who has any chance. She's the only person who will. She's the only hope in America for Julian Assange and Edward Snowden. That's for sure. I don't think Bernie will. I don't think Bernie is avoiding the question just the same as Jeremy Corbyn did. I find that very interesting. Avoiding answering it. You know, Dak Rouleau, I think his name is. He asked him. He got a camera in his face, I remember. I think it was Dak. And this video is from Dak as well. And the person asking the question up here, you'll remember from my channel, this is Christy Doff from Action for Assange. And she was the one who asked Tulsi this question. I'm going to play this. This is from Dak Rouleau from overwritten.org. This is great. This is journalism, asking journalism questions. And a presidential candidate actually answering it honestly. Listen to this.
The fact that Julian Assange is being held as a political prisoner in the UK. He's held 23 hours in solitary confinement. The fact that Julian Assange is being held as a political prisoner in the UK. He's held 23 hours in solitary confinement. He's slowly dying. WikiLeaks continues to publish the truth. Specifically, I would like to hear your thoughts on that we've had the fourth OPCW release and the implications of that for our foreign policy.
Do you want to expand on that?
That's a brilliant question. The implications for your foreign policy as well. That's a good question by Christie, and I'm really, really happy that these people are getting out there and asking questions that no other journalistic outlets are going to ask. And this is why I want to host that vigil for them or that fundraiser for them on Sunday, that live show, because they're doing great work and we need them to start holding the politicians' feet to the fire. Tulsi answers this really good. Listen.
A little bit.
The OPCW.
I can.
Yeah, you go ahead.
It's the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, an organization within the United Nations.
So what they're talking about here, just in case you don't know, what she's asked about there is the fourth leak. There were 3 leaks from that WikiLeaks have released from within the Organisation for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, and there's one that was released by the Working Group of Syria Propaganda and Media. What these leaks show is that the narrative that we were given as the reasons to bomb Syria in April 2018 were bull. They were all fabricated by the look of it. The whole thing, it looks like, was fabricated. And these leaks show that not only was it all fabricated, but there's people within the OPCW who are really angry. That report was a far cry from what really happened on the ground. It was fabricated by the look of it. Are you hearing that anywhere else? Are you hearing that in the media? This is why we need people like Christie to get out more.
That specifically has the mission of going and inspecting and seeing what's happening with chemical weapons and chemical weapons attacks in different parts of the world. And what was your name again? Sorry?
Christy Dodd.
Christy. So what Christy's referring to is there were two cases of a chemical weapons attack within Syria that the UN confirmed that their investigators said was a chemical weapons attack, and that our government and the Trump administration took military action once again without congressional authorization supposedly on the basis of this report. But what Christie's referring to is that I think there's 4 now.
There's 4, yeah.
There have been 4 reports leaked by whistleblowers within this organization who are the investigators, saying that the information that they gathered was washed and kept out of that final report that the OPCW put out, meaning that final report not only did not reflect the truth of what they found on the ground, it actually reflected the opposite of what they found on the ground. And so
I'd just like to point out here, not only is Tulsi going on to answer the question, she's clarifying, she's telling people this is what's happening. This is a presidential candidate talking about leaks from the OPCW, a presidential candidate talking about leaks from the OPCW, which basically looks like they were fabricated. All the evidence that pointed the other way, it was washed, as she said there. It was washed. Presidential candidate knows this. And still, our media in this country are not reporting it. I'm the only one. The only one. Me and Robert Fisk, and I outscooped him by a month on one of them. On one of the other leaks, I scooped him totally. Nobody else reported on it but me in the media. It's great, this is, that Tulsi is explaining it. And Tulsi is here. She's confirming everything that I have been telling you for the last 18 months is true. They fabricated that report, and this is a fabricated report from the OPCW, the Organisation for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. I'll let this play out. There's only about another minute of it.
I think what this highlights to me more than anything else is it's such a stark reminder of what we remember about Iraq. When we were told that there are these reports, these weapons of mass destruction, this is the reason why we need to go in and overthrow Saddam Hussein and go to war and all of these things, and the rest of the story, we all know exactly what happened. But this is the situation, and another reminder of how careful we must be before taking military action to actually make sure that you have the evidence to consider that it is true before you decide what course of action should be taken.
Now, do you believe the reason that they gave for killing Soleimani was true? Or do you think they just made that up as well?
This is something that I'm very interested now with the situation in Iran, that the administration is citing plans and intelligence and other things, but have been very, holding their cards close to their chest about exactly what that is. I'm looking forward to, I hope, a congressional briefing of some sort where at least Congress can be brought into these intelligence briefings that they are citing.
Well done, Tulsi. Not the best answer in the world, but it was as good as she possibly could do, I think, at that time. I want to point something out to you. Christy asked there the ramifications for US foreign policy. The Organisation for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, they investigated the Skripal poisonings. They were the ones, remember, who Boris Johnson said, yes, they told me it came from Russia. That was the OPCW as well. You tell me, is your government lying to you about the Skripals as well as the Duma attack? Looks like it, doesn't it? You're awesome, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Right. Who will be Dr. Kelly this time, says who cares? This is very, very true. Very true. Soleimani stole my pony, says Bluebell. I'm surprised there's not a bunch of trolls in the stream, says trying to be fine. Please. I don't get trolled. Too nice, you see. It's total bollocks. I get trolled all the time. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. That's all I've got for you tonight, I think. Yeah, the other stuff I hadn't got set up. I will release these videos over the next couple of days. Yeah, I got an interview tomorrow, so I won't be going live tomorrow. Probably going to be Saturday before I do anything now. Although Saturday I'm probably going to have to be preparing for the Sunday live stream. So I'll drop these videos over the next couple of days, and I'll see you the weekend. Please, please, please show up if you can. If you are in Scotland, oops, wrong one. If you are in Scotland, if you are in Scotland on the 25th, if you are in Scotland on the 25th, please make your way if you can. It's 40 to 42 Grinley Street in Edinburgh. I'll be there and I'll be streaming it. If you can't make it and you can make it down to London, there's one at London at Belmarsh Prison at the same time. Please make it to that one. Yellow Vest will be there. They bring the croissants, so you won't go home hungry. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Please make sure you subscribed. Please make sure you've liked as well. If you haven't liked the stream, please make sure you do. That really helps. And support independent media. We really need your help. Thanks to everybody who does support me, even if it's just with $1 or a like or a share or whatever. Just thanks to all of you. I can't do this without you. I really appreciate all the support you give me, and I honestly, I think I'm one of the luckiest people in the world right now. I really do. Especially if you look at all the grief around the world. I'm certainly luckier than any Iranian. That's for sure. Thanks very much, everybody. I'll see you in a couple of days. Make all war fiction again, everybody. Take care.